How can we tell a story about rescuing Eve when Natalie Zia's time has been drastically reduced?
You know, this has always been a show about a divided family that's trying to get back to each other from the very beginning, from the opening of the show when Eve and Josh fell into that sinkhole. And it's continued through the second season and into the third season. Even though Eve has been brought to a different time in a different place, her presence is going to loom large over the season. And that same emotional story about can the family be reunited both physically and emotionally is really at the heart of the season. So we find a lot of creative ways to tell that story. And I think fans that have been invested in the Harris family and their journey are going to be really emotionally rewarded as we get to the end of the show.
I hope so. Thank you.
David, going into this season, there's a lot more CGI work for the cast to bounce off of. Were you eager to incorporate more of those aspects this season, or did it just happen this way with the scripts?
We wanted this season to be our biggest and our most epic yet. And definitely approached it from that point of view. So particularly the first episode, the last episode is our biggest episode we've ever done. And then along the way, we wanted to find different moments to create that scope and the scale that I think the audience comes to the show for. So, knowing it was the last season, we wanted to make it as great as we could. So part of that is, the CGI work with the animals and dinosaurs now and things like that. But it's also, more surprises, deeper, more satisfying emotional stories, bringing everything to a climax. So it's really just kind of trying to throw the kitchen sink at this season to make it the best that it can, and make it a really the journey that the audience has been on from the beginning, a really rewarding one.
Will this be the end of Brea, or do you have any plans for a spinoff or a later revival?
I definitely have ideas, but this is the end of the story of these characters that we've been telling. You never know what will happen. Shows have a long and surprising life, as we've seen. And I do have a lot of ideas, ideas that I haven't been able to tell in the show, and also ideas that I've had since that would allow the story to continue. But this is the end for now. But you never know what could happen in the future. And if we're lucky enough to continue the story, I would be excited to do that. But I think what the audience is tuning in for now is going to tell the satisfying conclusion that they've been looking for in this story.
Certainly, every episode is must-see TV, especially with La Brea this season. What are some maybe episodes that really stand out or really hold a special place in your heart from season 3?
Definitely the finale. I think it's one of the episodes I'm most proud of, probably most proud of, that I think has the biggest emotional impact of anything we've done. And it's also the biggest scale episode of anything we've done. I think in terms of finales, like we really um, put everything into that one. And it's a huge episode. It's so much is packed into the final 40 some odd minutes, and brings all of the character stories to a really emotional conclusion. So I think that one is, it really, I think will live up to what the audience expects from a finale of this show in terms of the scope and the excitement and also the emotion.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Besides the finale, what do you think will excite the fans the most in this upcoming season?
I think there's a lot of change in this season. Our characters, at the end of the first episode, the clearing is destroyed and our characters have to leave and go find a new place to live. So we're throwing the characters into much different settings and situations than they've been in. That's one thing. I think also learning, getting a deeper understanding of who Gavin is and what his backstory is and how it connects to everything that's happened, and also how it will inform how they get home is something that's going to be really exciting for people who've been following his story and his visions and his familial history in 10,000 BC. So I think wrapping up that story and getting answers that they never expected is another thing as well. And I think there are also just several emotional stories that people are going through, that I think people are going to be really invested in. Lily and Veronica, Veronica and Lucas, and them potentially becoming parents. Sam, striving to get back home and also be a good father, and the tests that he'll go through in that way. Everyone has a really deep emotional journey in this season. So I think, those three things. I think the surprising emotional stories, putting our characters in new situations, and also learning more about Gavin's history, I think are those things I'm really excited about.
What have you personally taken away or maybe learned even from your experiences working on La Brea?
Um, I think I've just felt this uh, really huge sense of gratitude and thankfulness for being given this opportunity to create something that has taken so much of an investment from people in terms of their time and their creative energy, financially. I've worked with people, around the world on this show. We shot in Australia, worked with visual effects vendors from so many different countries. And and the show has reached people in countries around the world. So it's just such a huge and massive undertaking, from so many different points of view. And it all just started with a little idea I had, and the fact that something so big can spring from something so small, is something that I'm just constantly amazed by, and feel great gratitude that I was able to work on something like this for so long.